Hi, we're going to break down how Heidi Rosen was able to build such a powerhouse network by outlining concepts presented in Harnessing the Science of Persuasion by Chinildi, How to Build Your Network by Uzi and Dunlap, and finally, by presentations and posts by the writer of Give and Take, Adam Grant. First, the person. Heidi Rosen had to capitalize on the first concept mentioned by Chinildi, being likable. This principle she combined with traits she had developed in her early years of paying attention to others, making every connection count, and finding similarities rather than differences in everybody she met. A key part of the authentic Rosen was being genuinely interested in meeting interesting and smart people. With this as an intrinsic motivator, in synergy with the other traits, she was able to give herself potential, enough potential to land her first job through her network. Further capitalizing on these traits, Rosen began to employ her skills as a writer in her work assignments. This is where we see Rosen harnessing her internal motivation and setting clear objectives to be consistent, a running theme of how she built her network and a trait specified by Chinildi. She identified mutual goals of herself and the CEO, who needed an effective communication method to communicate within the company. But instead of asking for help, as Grant outlines as being a taker, Rosen allowed this relationship to grow naturally, building trust. This trust allowed the CEO to feel comfortable enough to write her a recommendation for graduate school. After graduate school, while at Teammaker, Rosen had accomplished a small network, but it wasn't quite effective yet. Despite the challenges of being an entrepreneur, she employed even more networking skills to further her growth. Rosen made every connection count when promoting her company, but didn't railroad people. She actually paid attention to what they were saying. People actually felt because it was true, Rosen actually did care about what they were talking about. To forge even more and stronger connections at trade shows and media events, Rosen employed techniques outlined by Uzi and Dunlap by evoking passion about Teammaker. This crucial second step allowed her to sit on the board of directors for Software Publishers Association. This is where Rosen really started hitting her stride and gaining some momentum with her network. She had experience from her company and visibility through SPA to truly meet smart and interesting people and make connections outside of her current network. Now Rosen began employing traits outlined by Chinildi. She had a stance of authority, having a master's degree, running her own company, and being on a board of directors. She had unique information, as computers were relatively new at this time, but she had the access to see where they were going and what they could do. It is about this time that Rosen started having her dinner parties, we can safely assume, where she started loosely applying the concept of a shared activities principle because everybody needs to eat and everybody likes to have a good time. Another key point about the dinners is Rosen limited the connection between guests to about 50%. This allowed genuine interest and discussion to happen, while at the same time protecting her network against becoming too stagnant, as outlined by Uzi and Dunlap. After the decade-growing Teammaker, Rosen joins Apple, and this is where we see her first test of her network. However, we also are introduced why she is comfortable using her network. Through building her connections, Rosen kept 2 points at the center of the relationship: consistency and performance. Performance combined with consistency results in 2 benefits. It is efficient, and it creates successful results. With this synergy, her contacts knew that by picking up the phone when she called, she wasn't going to waste their time and they were probably going to benefit from it. This is a result of establishing trust with them early, and then supporting this trust at key instances in every individual relationship. After Apple, Rosen starts reciprocity, so she doesn't become a doormat, as Grant discusses. While giving of herself, she also employs what Grant calls being other-ish. Rosen doesn't strain her network by connecting anyone with just anybody inside of it. By having an adaptive style of reciprocity, she does not self-destruct her network. She protects it and the interests of those within her network. This consequently results in Rosen sometimes saying no to a request, but this protects the entire structure of her network from takers. With her objective to add value across her entire network, Rosen transforms her brand from Rosen to Rosen Information Broker. Now, as a broker, Rosen employs the final principle mentioned by Chinildi, scarcity. She has the knowledge and trust of many different types of people who are smart and powerful. An introduction is only as successful as the results gained. And by knowing who has the time and the expertise for a request, Roizen starts to become a power user of her network, and the results speak for themselves.